YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to do a video. I had it on a list of things that I wanted to cover, showing the repetition and the pattern that we continuously see in regards to shape-shifting and reptilians. Now, of course, there's a lot of people out there that don't actually believe those types of theories, but I think it's important to note when we're looking at some of these athletes, the repetition with the signs and the symbols. So some of you may have heard of this guy, Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? Truth in plain sight, right? Well, Caitlin Clark has become a very popular athlete. Now, I don't do athletes too often on the channel, cover them and show the repetition. I've covered LeBron James and some of these people in the past, but sports have become so tainted with agendas, just like everything else. So it's become kind of a nauseating topic. But I've always been a believer that these athletes that we see are actually byproducts of the eugenics program. For those of you that don't know about the eugenics program, they claim to have discontinued eugenics and practicing eugenics. But realistically, we know even with things like gene editing, they're practicing eugenics. And obviously, anytime the government tells us that they discontinue things, we obviously should believe the exact opposite. We're supposedly under the belief that one, you can't control the weather when they have thousands of documents that say that they can, including presidents on the record of talking about he who controls the weather controls the world. And of course, they tell us that they don't perform mind control, that mind control is not real, that MK Ultra was discontinued, that Operation Mockingbird never really existed in the first place. So obviously, we should believe the opposite. And if you look at how a lot of these athletes have changed over the years, at least as far as how they physically have changed, and they don't look like regular people like me and you. When once in like the 1940s and 50s, you'd see these old NBA players, they looked a lot like we did. Or you'd see some of these old NFL players like Bart Starr, and they were just regular sized people. And now, of course, what we see are people that have almost double the arm length of regular people. So eugenics is definitely something that I believe is in play. Now, I want to play for you this commercial that Nike aired, where again, a common theme that we continually see, which I'll show you the pattern here momentarily, is these famous celebrities referencing not being human, referencing reptilian and shape-shifting. And here is Caitlin Clark doing just that in the latest Nike commercial. So as you can see, it's possessed. You want to say reptilian. You want to say that it's the offspring of the Nephilim. You could say whatever you want, but you can't deny the pattern here. Then when we look at the signs and symbols of these people, like Caitlin Clark here, holding up the 666 hand sign over its eyes, well, it's almost indisputable. How many of these celebrities do we see doing these same not-so-secretive poses on magazine covers, on photo shoots, holding a 666 up over its hand, holding a 666 up, over their eyes, doing this over and over. Even the heart symbol, which has become a very common symbol that we see a lot of these celebrities use, which again references Baal. The heart was a symbol that goes back to Nimrod among the ancient Babylonians. It was a symbol of Baal, Lord of the Babylonians. And of course, you could see the reptile tongue as well, consistently sticking its tongue out whenever it scores. Now, obviously, we could look at this and we could say eugenics. We also could say that a lot of these athletes are actually the opposite gender, playing roles like Caitlin Clark does. And we've seen the devil horns being thrown up over and over. Suddenly you go from being a college athlete to hanging out with Taylor Swift. These are things that the common people don't think much about. They think just because you could shoot a ball in a hoop, suddenly you're going to be hanging out with the most famous celebrities in the world. And we've even seen, as I've covered recently, Kim Kardashian dressing up as a reptilian, truth in plain sight. And you may recall some of these other clips, including Bill Gates, including Nancy Pelosi, openly talking about reptilians, as well as that Mountain Dew commercial that was a pretty big commercial that they put out right around the time, of course, that everything happened in Maui.
They didn't know what they were talking about. We know we're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win.
Of course she was going to say that, but...
Poor baby.
Yeah, she's really, really committed to that. It's really sad.
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian and cold-blooded and go in to win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden and some other things.
Thank you. We're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian. No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian.
Bill Gates is part of a reptilian race that includes Tom Hanks and Lady Gaga.
So we definitely could see a pattern here with them bringing attention to these types of theories. Now, there's some people out there that believe that reptilians are real. There's other people out there that don't believe that it's real, but we could clearly see that there's a pattern here with references to it. And you may remember the video I did on the film The Watchers, which references the book of Enoch. And that film specifically talked about the mixing of these giants' DNA with that of regular people. Here's some clips for anyone out there that hasn't seen.
What is this place? They come every night. They watch us until the sun rises again. It's a window on the other side.
Don't you want to know what they are?
A detailed account of the time before the war.
Life with the fairies was a golden era in the age of man. They lived among us as guardians, friends, even mates. Those half-blooded children, born of both man and fairy, changed everything. They were particularly skilled in the art of transformation, even replicating those that had passed on. What became of the halflings? History has deemed their bloodline extinct. It is yet to be proven. With their power, think of what we could create. who we could bring back.
We were like gods once. It is because of humans that we were smothered under dirt for centuries, choking.
Must be where the fairies were imprisoned. It is said that they once lived among us as gods, the bridge between nature and man. They were banished to a tomb deep underground, sealed in by a great door that prevented them from ever returning the way they came in.
Our kinds used to live as one. Some even fell in love and had children. Kilmartin called them halflings. You're not just a watcher, Madeline. You're also part human. You must have felt it. That you never really belonged. You know what it is to be human. It's jealousy and hatred. But it's also love.
Stop it!
I know what it's like to believe you're a monster. I know what it's like to feel that half of you is evil. I think there are others like you out there. What if you could find them? We don't have to be alone anymore.
So it's definitely not a coincidence that they're constantly talking about this. Now, again, I believe that these are byproducts of the eugenics program. Most people out there don't even know of the eugenics program. It is still occurring to this day. In fact, a fancier term for eugenics might just be mRNA gene editing, because what they're doing is taking human beings' genetic codes and restructuring them. Now, eugenics is something that they try to discredit, but they also try to discredit weather modification. We've been screaming about weather modification for years and years and years, and now all of a sudden when we see some of these flash floods, we actually get the propaganda media coming out and admitting that they can cloud seed and they can make it rain, but not on the level that we all say. So now they're admitting to those truths, but still trying to obviously cover their trail, or cover their tracks, I should say, because they don't want to get people suspicious as to what the government is trying to actually do here. So that was a commercial that aired recently from Nike, and if you pay attention to any of this mainstream crap that we constantly see trending, they're trying to push Caitlin Clark down everybody's throats. They're trying to obviously push women's basketball and women's sports down everybody's throats, because again, it wasn't a very popular thing for a long period of time, but obviously we've seen the mind control transition that's occurred over the last 8 years or so with the woke movement, the Me Too movement, and now we see them actually promoting women's sports more than they promote men's sports. And we know everything they're doing is inverted and the opposite of what it's supposed to be. They promote females as being strong and athletic, and the men are being, pretty much wearing tight, skinny pants and wearing lipstick and painting their nails when they're showing up at these sporting events. So the whole world is upside down on its head. But there's really no debating some of the stuff with Caitlin Clark, who constantly is in the mainstream. It's constantly trending everywhere you look. Even if you go to CNN or you go to MSN, if you go to these mainstream news publications, they're talking about Caitlin Clark. So they clearly are obviously pushing Caitlin Clark. And we could look at Caitlin Clark and we could maybe dismiss the notion of it being a reptilian, but I don't think we could dismiss the notion that, it's probably got a dallywagger down there. And if it doesn't, well, slap me silly and call me Sue. I thank everybody for being here. I hope all of you are doing well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you've seen any other repetition and any other mass amounts of propaganda that's out there, or at least references to the fallen angels, to the Nephilim, to reptilians, whichever you want to call them. Because the more we see it, the more we can point these things out to people in regards to what's going on in the world. And a lot of people believe that this DNA that they're trying to edit and alter is actually DNA with the fallen ones that occurred back in 2020. Now, we all know that they were trying to connect people to the Internet of Bodies, which they obviously did, but it's all food for thought at this point. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.